Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for Nerds by Nerds, hanging out these nerdettes tonight. We're gonna play some 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. So we're gonna stay with the theme of last week, and we're going to be down a player, as Samantha won't be joining us tonight. So Agnetha will be off getting into her own mischief without you guys. But I'm sure she'll manage, and I'm sure you guys will manage as well.
Excellent.
So we've got Jen from Pixel Scapes and Megan R. Miller from Megan R. Miller Novels and staff writer over at nerdarchy.com. You can find links to both of these ladies' works in the description below, and I will pin it on the post. Megan, do you want to do the recap?
So last week, we were camped out and we had the horses staked and everything, and we had set up watch, and then Agnetha and Kenna woke up to find that Deneen was missing, and the only clue to where she was these drag marks in the grass. So we start taking off. Kenna's like riding on Agnetha's back like a little halfling backpack, and we run into this frog creature with pouches and stuff, and asked the frog where Deneen had gone because apparently he was a witness, and then Agnetha gave him some sweets in exchange for the information. So we continue along, and then we run into that big troll that had apparently, like, we presume it crashed the cart into the tree a couple of sessions ago, the one that we found with the evil demon baby. But we presume that was the creature that was responsible for it. Killed that thing. Hopefully it doesn't come back. We burned it, so it shouldn't come back. And then found Deneen, who was being dragged away by these briar goblins that were not super reasonable. Like the last one was alive and it finally ran away. But anyway, Agnetha now has her weapon like kind of enchanted by the blood of these forest creatures, and we've got Deneen back, and we should be back at camp.
You should be, and you are. So you guys actually, it's a couple of days travel, and you find yourselves back at the, just outside the gates of Gryphongaffe, leading, 6 white horses and the wagon.
Deneen spent the whole way discovering even more of the thorns from the vines that she was wrapped in. Like, she's just been picking them out for the last while and complaining about it a lot.
Nature, it's all over me. Get it off.
Yeah, exactly.
So, approaching the gates, everything seems fairly routine and normal. The gates are open. People are, there's a small line of people coming and going. What are you guys planning on doing with the horses?
Well, my thought was to sell them because horses go for a decent amount of money, but, this is open to discussion.
Well, you don't need them for your Vardo, so...
Nope.
These are the horses
I mean, unless you can think of some other...
Are these the horses?
Yeah, these are the horses
from the Eladrin? Oh, these are nice horses. They're probably worth a lot of money.
These are nice horses. Yeah.
Excellent.
They are good horses. That is for sure. So Agnetha offers to go try and market the horses.
What could
I see what you're doing there, but Kenna would definitely hesitate.
She's definitely coming back with magic beans.
Coming back with magic beans. Man, it's too bad that Vance didn't sneak onto the Vardo with us, because it would totally make him go with her. Let me think. Yeah, all right. What's the worst that could happen?
So she's off selling horses?
She's going to be off selling horses.
Worst case scenario is that we're back where we started, right?
Worst case scenario, she comes back with some kind of cursed item, and then the whole town is on fire, and it's our fault.
Oh, so speaking of cursed items or potentially cursed items, about those daggers.
Right.
I mean, is there any way to
there's the
tell
one they
if
had.
they are problematic or not? Because they seem.
We should probably
nice.
go get Sheena to look at them.
The guys were using. Yeah, but if she looks at them, she's like in with these hags. That's a terrible
that's
idea.
right. The hags have been up in her head too.
Yeah.
You're right.
You're
right.
Like, clearly those, super fancy Eladrin guys were willing to use them. But because they're really nice, so it's kind of tempting. I don't know.
The problem is she is the go-to magical person that I know. So, man, who else knows how to cast in this town? Don't suppose there's like a phone book for that or something. Okay.
Can we get an app on that?
Yeah, right.
An app called Identify.
I mean, there's the whole library. I'm sure there's somebody there other than Sheena that would know what the thing is.
Well, we've had a couple of days. You've got that book about hags. Was there anything about these things in there by any chance?
I'd get out the book and go and see.
Not about the book, but there is mention
about the.
There is mention of the order that serves the hags.
Ooh.
About their weapons?
The order that we never got the full name of?
That order, exactly.
Ah.
So it basically, it goes into a little bit of the history of the sisters, and kind of when they were cursed and cast out, some of their followers went with them and chose to serve them, even though they were corrupted. And also, reading into reading between the lines, they're definitely kind of like Fey elitist.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely a faction of the Eladrin that believe that the High Elves, and even more so the Wood Elves, have gone away from their true roots. And they themselves are becoming tainted by living in this world and interacting with, what they refer to as mortals.
Oh, so this order decided to continue following them. So maybe they weren't elves originally. Maybe they were Eladrin originally.
It's possible.
I mean, not that apparently it matters if they're such Fey elitists.
My hypothesis in this whole situation is that if you were to test it, it would be less likely to blast you than it would be anybody else here, because you're an elf. You're closer to a Fae than anybody that we know.
That's true. I mean, I guess I could try it and see what happens. I'm still nervous, but I could try.
We should probably ask somebody at the library, to be fair.
Okay. Whatever you think is good. All right,
we'll find someone at the library that isn't
every advantage we can get,
So it's the Order of the Ebon Knight.
Okay. Okay, I'm writing that down.
K Knights or N Knights?
K.
Noted.
So, all right, so you guys have just rolled into town. It's still like midway through the day. You've got plenty of time to do whatever you want to do. What is the first stop? What are you guys doing first?
Oh, we should stop and see the family. And their big clusteriness. Which has been gone a while.
That's true. We both have family to see.
Exactly.
So when you guys go to see your prospective families, they each hug you guys extra tight, and they seem a little more concerned than usual.
What happened while we were gone?
There's been about half a dozen bodies found throughout the town with their heads literally ripped off, and no one knows what happened to the heads.
What happened to the head? And these have been identified.
Some of them.
Okay. Well, I think I know where we're going after this. After the library, though. That's also important. But none of ours. We're all okay.
Yeah, your prospective families are all okay.
All right.
This is not good.
So after Deneen hears about this, she will hoof it over to meet back up with Kenna.
Here. About all the decapitated bodies that have apparently been floating around.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so what do you want to do? Do we want to go check and see if we can get this thing checked out at the library first, or do we want to go and see if anybody we knew got axed?
Well, as far as Alarian knew, nobody, I mean, not that he knows many people in the town, but he didn't mention anybody he was working with at the spa going missing or anything. So nobody we know on this end, but we don't know that many people because we're new to town.
Right.
We'll
library first, and then we'll go and see if there are any bodies that I could identify, because I know you don't know a whole lot of people here, but I do have friends. I've got friends at the church. I've got friends in the market. But it's just sticky.
Okay.
I'm actually way more worried about them than I thought I would be.
Hopefully this is just like a real quick research question. And who knows, we might need it.
It shouldn't be a problem.
So.
So we will head to the library.
All right, so you guys head over to the library, and you're greeted by the same kind of old grumpy elf that is always like sitting in the reception area, scribing away. Doesn't look up.
I'm gonna walk up. I'm gonna put my hands on the counter, which is like probably over my head.
What do you ladies need? Do you have an appointment?
No, we just need somebody that can cast Identify.
When he looks up and hears your voice, he sees you. So you need someone else this time. You usually come and visit. Kind of rolls his eyes a little bit. Sheena.
It's a lot of fun, but that might be a conflict of interest this time.
Well,
it's always nice to meet new people, new contacts.
That too.
I will see if anyone is available. And
thank you so much.
He does something that you haven't seen him do before, and he opens this clay pot that's just sitting on his desk, and a wisp of glowing light kind of shoots out of it, and it's got a purplish hue to it, and he kind of ushers it closer to him, and he whispers to it, and then he sends it off.
Huh.
And puts the lid back on the pot.
What was that?
It's messaging. Interesting.
Just a little helper I keep around here.
Internally, Kenna figures if he wanted to tell her more about it, he would already be talking about it, and kind of eases down a little bit, but makes a mental note to at some point come back and find out more about that in particular.
You've seen this guy a few times when you come in, and he's never very personable. Like I said, he seems like the grumpiest, oldest elf you've seen.
Ask him for one favor
He's
today.
an elf?
I can come back and ask him about this later.
He is absolutely an elf.
Oh, well then I am totally going to attempt to make elven small talk with him.
Oh, okay. I'm just going to stand there and listen to it, because this is always the most amusing thing.
In Elven, of course.
Absolutely. And I say, we at just Karsha Patham. Very pretty.
He looks up from his writing, puts down his quill, which this may be the first time you've ever seen him put down the quill. He looks at you.
At this point, Kenna is crying.
blinks 3 times, and then turns to Kenna and speaks in common. Is your friend okay?
And Janine was looking so happy and proud of herself to be practicing her Elven, and the expression just gets a little more like.
Yeah, she's gonna answer him in Elven, and she's like, yeah, she's fine. She's learning.
There is just a hint of concern when he actually asks you that question. Yes, Crystal Playtown is very beautiful this time of year. Actually, I can't think of a time of year that it isn't beautiful. Did you enjoy your stay there?
Stay is quickly, but rememberable.
I understand. Sometimes we have to go. Sometimes we don't have as much time as we'd like. And he's like, you can see that he's deliberately like slowing down his speech.
Which is very helpful, actually.
And then the purple light comes whooshing back and kind of like hovers by his ear, and he gets a relieved look on his face and tells you to go down the hall and this time go down the stairs, make a left, 3rd door on the right.
Nothing's gonna explode this time.
No, that would be up the stairs and to Sheena's room.
All right, thank you so much.
No worries. Enjoy your stay.
Much thank.
He just kind of waves you off.
I still think I'm getting better.
Well, that's the
important
part. That's the important part. So you guys follow the instructions easy enough, and you find yourselves outside a rather plain door in what appears to be the basement that's been converted over for more room.
On the door.
So you knock on the door, and after just a couple minutes, the door opens with a lot more creaking, squeaking, and noises than you would have anticipated. And it takes you a moment. It takes a moment for it to register, but it's not actually the door that's making the noises; it's the person opening it. This person stands about 6 feet tall and is completely clockwork, except for they're dressed in like fancy kind of like aristocrat clothing that seems to be a little dated. And kind of in a tinny voice. Greetings.
Salutations.
Hello. We hear someone down here knows a thing or two about identifying magic items.
Yes, Jarissa, right this way, and kind of like waves his arm. And there's there is a half-elven gentleman in kind of like workman's clothes, kind of plain. As you kind of see the room, it's lit with ever burning torches and lanterns. So there's a decent amount of light in here, even though it's in the basement. He's at a desk. There's a couple workbenches. There's some bookshelves. Nothing is exploding. He is like there's like a small like beginner's alchemy set off to the side in comparison to what you're used to when you go to see Sheena in her workshop.
So I'm going to give the clockwork butler a respectful curtsy, and I'm going to say, "Pardon me for staring. You are just very shiny." And then I'm going to move over to the
Why, thank you,
wizard.
You're very short.
Thank you.
And it's hard to get any kind of like read from his words because there's no emotion whatsoever.
Ken is going to be all chipper and happy about it anyway.
He's He's certainly interesting, but Deneen it can't help but think to herself that with all that creaking and spranging and gear works, that it would be impossible to be stealthy. It must be a sad, sad existence.
So he kind of clanks back into the room, and he actually goes over to the one of the workbenches and begins manipulating some objects and some tools. And the fellow behind the desk, thank you, my good man, for getting up and getting that for me. I didn't even hear it.
Caught up in the research?
Well, there's always so much more interesting things going on in my work than the day-to-day grind of this place. So what brings the two of you to my workshop?
So we have these interesting dagger/pin combo items that seem like they might be magical, but they're kind of evil looking.
I set the jar of flour on the desk.
Right. It's the jar of flour, just without any explanation. But they're kind of evil looking, and they were kind of from some rough customers. And so, although I'm really hoping to be able to use them, I don't want to take any risks. So I was hoping you'd be able to analyze or alchemize or whatever it is that you do to help us work out whether they're safe to use.
Well, sure, I could take a look. I mean, the library has fees and such, but the two of you look very well traveled.
We're just coming off the road, so yes.
Well, then come, bring it over here. What do you? Let's see this. And evil can be very subjective, by the way.
Pop the flower open and start digging things out of it.
Maybe not evil, but dangerous to us is more about what we're concerned.
Well, dangerous. Now that is completely different, because danger is rarely subjective. Things generally are dangerous or they are not.
Hopefully you'll be able to tell. They're and then she finally gets around to realizing that maybe they're in the jar here.
Oh no, I've been digging them out.
Oh, you're digging them out. Okay. So they're totally covered with flour.
Yeah, they're kind of messy. Sorry, we wanted to be sure that they were in a safe place. She says as if the jar of flour was going to stop them from doing anything.
It's totally legit.
Is that a magical reagent you have there to neutralize any potential evil? And he kind of like puts his finger in it, and then licks it.
It's finely ground flour.
We just didn't want them to be like super easy to find if someone happened to be rummaging around.
Nobody's going to think to look in my flour container.
Well, I suppose you're correct there. Some precaution is better than no precaution. That's what I always say. So he lays out the daggers and the brooch and begins incanting a spell over them. And while he does it, he holds up a pearl in one hand and begins rolling it between his fingers as he's muttering under his breath.
And Deneen is, of course, immediately admiring this pearl, and she kind of leans way down to elbow Kenna, like, "Hey, look at that, nice."
So after a few minutes go by, he's sweating slightly, and well, they don't seem particularly dangerous. I mean, they could be dangerous in the right hands.
To other
what
people.
Do they do?
Yes, to other people. In and of themselves, I do not detect anything that is going to be harmful to the wielder. I took some extra precautions. I tried to look for curses. I didn't see any, but they can be tricky sometimes. Although clearly the owner was making a bold fashion statement with these. They seem very old.
They're clearly out of fashion, what with the giant staring eyes. But they have a nice weight to them.
That's one of their properties. Keen edge, well weighted, and these these daggers are attuned to this brooch, so you can't really you can't really separate one from the other. The magic has bound them together. So if
it's a good thing you picked that one up.
So
too.
it's like a set then, huh? Okay.
it is, which one of you is more apt to use these daggers?
Deneen is looking increasingly hopeful at this summary.
Well,
Ken is just like pointing at her.
My lady, if you don't mind, and he goes to pin the brooch on on your cloak.
So she'll I guess let him pin it on there. She's
So
still a little uneasy about it, but
so he does that, and he takes one of the daggers and throws it against a cork board that's on one of the walls with papers and stuff in it. And I want you to now imagine yourself over there by that dagger.
So Deneen saw what they were doing with. Oh no, she didn't. It was only Agnetha that saw it.
Yeah.
Okay. So just imagine I'm over there, and even as she says it, she ends up imagining it.
Yeah. So you do that, and matter of fact, probably as he's saying it, you start doing that,
right?
And then there's this sound, and now you're standing over there with the dagger.
Right. So it's more like she's saying, "So I just need to imagine that I'm over," and she's totally startled that she's over there next to the dagger.
Yes. So now imagine this dagger here. Imagine it in your hand.
So she looks down at her hand.
And the other dagger appears in her hand.
And she does not fumble it. She's like, oh, I could learn to like this. This could be fun.
That is, you are shooting a bow, then our enemies are in trouble.
I've done some dagger work as needed.
So as a bonus action, you can go to the dagger, but as a reaction, you can pull a dagger back to you.
Nice.
And
this is going to be fun.
With a 30 feet range.
30 feet. Okay, let me write this down.
So, and plus one dagger.
Okay.
Yes, before you guys start in the chat, I totally ripped that off from Matt Mercer.
Well, that's fun.
So if you ever should want to part with those, I'm sure I could find a buyer for you.
I will keep that in mind.
And then, and then the clockwork person speaks up for the first time since you guys have entered. Fascinating. Is there a place I can find those?
They are a acquisition from someone who is trying to use them against us.
Well, that sounds most unpleasant.
Yes, so I wouldn't be able to begin to tell you where not really a retail item, I don't think.
I imagine not. I've not seen anything like those. The designs are very odd.
Indeed they are. And even as she says this, because she doesn't want this pin to be like super obvious, she's actually going to take it off and just sort of tuck it kind of under the collar of her cloak here. Just so it's not like, showing out to the whole world. Because she remembers that even the guys that were wearing these did not let them be seen in public.
That is true. There's like whirl, click, click, click as the clockwork person kind of turns his head to the side. Why are you hiding it? It's odd, but it's quite beautiful.
As noted, the the original owner had interesting fashion sense, and I'd rather not flaunt it. That's all.
As you wish. Wait a minute. This is very, very rude of me. Or is it rude of Jarissa? I'm not sure. And I not had many interactions with your kind. Where I come from, there's only people like me and, well, the king. But and everyone knows each other. He sticks out his hand as way of introduction, and offers a slight bow as he does. And you can call me Bucket.
Bucket. I am so pleased to meet you, Bucket. I am Esty.
Esty.
I'm Kenna.
I'm pleased to meet you, Esty and Kenna.
That's an interesting name, Bucket.
Well, when I came here from the Clockwork Kingdom, I was told my other name was far too long. So the guard just called me Bucket.
Huh.
And it seemed to work for me. He said anything that takes 2 to 5 minutes long to say is far too long for a name.
Well,
here, indeed, yes.
Speaking as an elf, we do tend to be aficionados for relatively long names. But I can understand that certain people would be impatient with a long name. That's why I shorten mine.
Understandable. In this town, some of the people can be quite impatient. There's not many of us here, so it seems only polite to try and meld to the existing culture.
So you say you're from a Clockwork Kingdom? I've honestly never heard of such a thing.
Yeah, there's a portal. It's right down the hallway.
And Deneen
Really?
kind of does a double take and looks at Kenna.
Just right down the hallway.
Yes.
I thought you said there was a portal like outside town, Kenna.
I heard there was a portal outside town. I haven't heard about this one.
Huh.
There is a portal outside town. They say I cannot go through that one yet.
Where does that one go? And why aren't they letting you through it?
Well, that's the dragon realm where the dragonborn came from. They have a fort built up around that one. This one they just have the library around it.
I imagine not a lot of people know it's there.
Well, that's true. Although, and then Jarissa comes over and looks at a Bucket admonishingly. What have I told you about blabbering on about things in the library?
Oh, I promise. We are very good at keeping secrets. And I smile. My most disarming smile.
Absolutely.
It's a matter of those library
Deneen will give Kenna assistance on the disarming smile to attempt to give her advantage.
So, then she says, and then there's the matter of this library fees, and I'm going to set 20 gold pieces on the desk, and I'm like, would that about cover it, do you think?
20 gold pieces?
Was using anything super expensive in that ritual, and I kind of know how that works, and if it would be more, she would set more down, but she's trying to be covering costs, and also this is a slight bribe so that you don't get weird about the fact that we know about your portal.
Well,
but Kenna would know what an appropriate amount for that would be. I personally don't have a good frame of reference for it, so
probably closer to 100 gold.
Okay, well, that's what she does then.
Considering Deneen's the one that's going to be using these daggers, she'll put some gold in there too.
I used it from the party stash.
Well, then she's going to keep her gold.
Yeah.
She makes a thing about offering to use gold, but then she's perfectly happy to get it from the party stash.
Well, yes, thank you. And it's not a secret per se, but being as we're just getting acquainted, and as he's talking, that's when you kind of notice he's got this uh, maple leaf on his pinned to his lapel, and it seems to be carved from moonstone. And it looks a lot more valuable than the pearl he had been rolling around. But it's not exactly a secret per se. But having just met your acquaintances, I'm trying to teach Bucket here that
Subtlety.
to observe certain protocols and perhaps take his time and be a little slower.
Which is ironic considering the discussion we just had about people being impatient.
Well, he's got the patience of a saint. He's just he's also a little knave as well.
Understood.
But that being said, the fact that you're even sent down here to see me means something. So
that we are regular patrons of the library.
Well, yes, I mean, you were recognized as someone that could be sent throughout the library unescorted, at least.
Yes, we have a long history of being reliable in libraries, and there's never any kind of trouble.
Never. Nope.
He kind of gives you a knowing smile. So is there anything else I can help you ladies with this afternoon?
Can you think of anything?
No, that was really about all.
I think we're good.
Thank you very much for your time, and hopefully we'll see you again.
Have you heard about these murders around town?
I have. It sounds dreadful.
We were thinking of looking into it, so I was just wondering if you had heard anything other than, the fact that it had happened.
I've just heard the gossip, amongst the townsfolk. They're finding these bodies with their heads ripped off.
Ripped off. Okay,
so
that's
not
a new
cut off,
detail.
not axed. Really unusual, and there aren't a whole lot of things that could do that.
Like with
I mean, there are a lot of things, but
claws,
not things that wouldn't go unnoticed in town.
Yeah.
I keep hearing the words ripped and off. Sounds quite disturbing.
There's really no need to dwell on it, I suppose, but do you have... No, never mind. It's all right. We've taken up far too much of your time.
As you wish. So he kind of hands you like a calling card. Stop by any time. I'm happy to be of service. And on it says Jarissa Moonleaf.
Leave that down into my notebook.
That fits with his pin.
Alrighty then.
Well, thank you very much, Jarissa. I look forward to doing business with you again.
Absolutely, and hopefully the gossip going around next time will be much more cheery.
Hopefully. I like this town as boring as possible.
That makes two of us. Fortunately, I stay.
All right, so
mostly. No, he just made the off comment. Fortunately, he stays in mostly.
Which is why Kenna stopped herself from asking, because he wouldn't know.
Why not? You never know. Bucket could blurt out something useful.
He kept on saying things were being ripped off, and that is what he kept hearing, and never implied that he'd actually seen anything. So asking him like what he thinks it is, probably not going to be super fruitful, and likely won't earn us very much goodwill with this man.
Well, we're all set. All right.
So as you're getting ready to leave, Bucket says, "Doesn't this town have a watch? I'm pretty sure this town has a watch. They follow me around sometimes."
Absolutely has a watch, but we kind of work with them sometimes, so I don't think we'll have much trouble.
Are you irregulars?
A lot of irregular things happen around us.
Hmm.
On a regular basis, as a matter of fact.
Well, I am also pleased to make your acquaintances.
It is very nice to meet such an unusual individual, Bucket.
They're always our favorite sorts.
And he goes back to the bench doing whatever he was doing. He seems to be working with some kind of like tinker tools, and tinkering with little clockwork pieces.
Right. Let's go find out about these bodies.
So as we're walking out of here, Deneen says, "Didn't you mention something about blood cultists? Like, is this?"
That is definitely something that happens here.
Yeah, great.
Oh, they're absolutely obsessed in this town. But ripped off? I mean, what are the odds?
I'm just thinking there's a certain amount of blood involved when you rip off somebody's head. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
But I think it would be a mistake to just assume that that was the case. Correlation and causation aren't all necessarily the same thing. At least we'll get a look. And you can tell she really wants to go see some bodies. Like, she's just really curious about what's in there.
Great. Well, it sounds like we need to go talk to... oh, no, I forgot his name.
Harak?
Yes. Agnetha's boyfriend.
I did hear a cat. I'm like, is that a cat or small children?
Yeah, this is Charlie.
Hi, Charlie.
But
Charlie does not usually make appearances.
no. I'm at my dad's house. This isn't even my cat.
Just some strange cat that wandered in. So is that what you guys want to do? You want to look for Harak?
Yes.
Well, it's either that or randomly stumble across another body. So I think we'll have better bets.
If he says we can take a look, then nobody's going to stop us from taking a look. So yeah, we're going to go find Harak. Oh my goodness. I will be right back. He is begging to be fed, so BRB.
No worries. So you guys head to the HQ for the watch.
All right.
And you're shown through. They definitely recognize Kenneth. Some of them at this point have probably seen you as well. And I'll let Harak know you're here. I'm sure he'll make time to see you ladies. And he seems to be looking around like as if he's looking for someone else as well.
Yeah, sorry. Agnes is busy.
And then hustles off and comes back within like 5-10 minutes and waves you guys on. And Harak gets up from behind his desk, is large muscular half orc, and like hanging on the wall behind him are all these different weapons, some pole arms, great axe, great sword, all basically large two-handed weapons that seem to be lovingly taken care of. And Harak does the same thing, like looks around, counting heads and kind of like peeks around you guys to try and see out the door. And then, is everything okay? What can I do for you ladies? It's kind of a booming voice.
So Deneen will say, Agnetha's running a little errand. She's in town. She's just not with us right now.
Oh, good. I was concerned, especially with the weirdness going on nowadays.
Yeah, we're concerned too, as a matter of fact. That's why we thought we'd come by.
Indeed.
We just got back to town, just heard about it. And we are, let's say, curious about the case.
You ladies can't leave anything.
And wanting to make sure it's... No, but don't lie to me. You're glad that we don't.
It is helpful, I'm not going to lie. And you've proven yourself quite capable. And when some of the more adventurous of our townsfolk are not around, and the watch is constantly being swamped with more and more duties as the town is quickly expanding, I admit I do appreciate the capable hands. So, and have you seen Maglin?
Not since coming back.
He just got
What
here.
did he do after we left?
Well, it's not so much that he did anything, but I haven't seen him in a while.
I don't think
that would be a pretty big coincidence. There's a lot of people in this town.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in this town. It's not exactly like his body is difficult to tell apart from other bodies without the head.
Oh no, I'm not saying that at all. He would be very easy to identify, I should think.
Well,
Because he's prosthetic.
You think he maybe exactly gave up on Agnetha and
Just
left
decided
the
to
city?
start ripping heads off.
What?
Well, I think ripping heads off.
We went to completely different places with that.
Ripping heads off strikes me as like a two-handed activity. But maybe that's me.
I don't know. He had a lot of musculature in that one arm. I'm not sure that he couldn't just rip somebody's head off with it, but let's not jump to conclusions.
Yeah. Anyway, no, we have not seen him.
Huh, curious. Him and his people, I haven't seen them around the last few days. He doesn't seem like the type to give up either.
Do you think he could have tried to follow us on our little trip? But then we would have seen him on the way back, probably.
I mean, it's possible.
I don't know. At any rate, no, we haven't seen him. But Kenna here is hoping to get a look at your evidence, let's say.
Right. I want to make sure it was no one that I knew. They mentioned that some of the bodies hadn't been identified. I just thought, maybe if we could take a look, it might help you figure out what exactly is going on.
Honestly, it was mostly some of the undesirables in town. So.
Well, that is the easiest way to get away with something.
But it also doesn't make it okay.
No, absolutely not. It was, some of the undesirables in town, and one of the dock workers that, would work overnight. So really it was people that would be out late. That it seems to be the...
So it's like an opportunistic crime. Seems
like it. And it's really odd because, every time we found one of these headless bodies, one, the head clearly has not been cut off. There's no blade work at all. And two, there's never any sign of a struggle or any other tracks or anything.
How about blood?
So,
like, does it make a big mess, or do you just find a random body and it might not even be where it happened? Okay.
Like, it's like someone poured out someone's body worth of blood.
Right.
It's quite awful.
So, big mess of blood, but no tracks. That is so strange.
That is strange, but plenty of things fly.
Yeah, but, well, I guess if it's nighttime, it wouldn't be easy to spot a flyer.
You think that's what we have? You think we have some kind of flying menace? That's just what we need.
I don't know.
I don't think anything yet until I've seen more evidence and know more information. And a speculation.
Are there any bodies left unburied that we could take a look at?
Honestly, it was so weird. I kind of rushed getting them disposed of.
Oh,
I didn't want them hanging around, you know?
okay.
Well,
Did you have anyone draw them, perhaps, or
Did I have any?
there are there files we could look at?
Well,
maybe
sure.
maybe the scene of one of the crimes.
Sure, I could take you to the most recent one. That one's easy enough down on the docks.
Has it been like
All right.
one a night, or has it been just in the last day, or what's it? How is this frequency wise?
So it's it's just been recent, and it's like it seems like every couple of days one of these bodies shows up. Or in the last case there was two of them together.
Huh. Well,
All right.
maybe we'll be able to figure something out if we. I mean, I'm sure your investigators have been thorough, but who knows? Maybe we'll notice something ourselves.
Let's go look at the crime scene.
It couldn't hurt to have more eyes on this. That's for sure.
And if there's no tracks, like you said, Kenna, maybe it's a flyer. Maybe I'll go check the neighboring roofs. Just in case.
That's also a very good point.
Because some people, and here she sort of pats her own chest because she's clearly talking about herself. Some people find that that's a useful way to avoid making yourself obvious.
So the very last scene where things happened was just outside of the busted donkey, and like I said, like some of these have been kind of unsavory. I'm not going to say I'm totally glad to see them go, but nobody should go that way.
Yeah, and if now it's 2 at a time, this could even be accelerating. So that's not good.
So
good.
I don't know if you ever did any hanging around there at the busted donkey, but a couple of the regulars, kind of a bit of troublemakers.
A couple of them.
Well, yeah,
Tyson.
pretty sure you're pretty accurate there. But so one of the regular barkeepers there, Gus, and one of his hanger-ons, Rolo, they're the last two victims. And he kind of stops at a spot, and you look down, and you're fairly certain you know exactly where they died.
Oh, good. Blood outline?
Pretty much on the cobblestones. It's like someone just poured out 2 buckets. And it's a little fainter. It looks like someone tried scrubbing it, but just didn't quite get it all up.
So Danine's going to start kind of. So is this an alley? Is it out front? Is it out back?
It is in the main street, but it is just off to the side, like where there is an alley, but it's not in the alley.
And sounds like it's always at night, and nobody has reported seeing anything.
Correct.
So Danine's looking around and looking especially at the walls for like easy handholds or any bloodstains unexpectedly high up on the wall.
So you definitely don't see any.
Oh, it cut out there. I don't see any what?
You don't see anything from where you're at.
All right. I'm gonna shimmy up there and look around. How about that?
All right, do that. What is your passive perception?
My passive perception is 15.
Okay, so you start looking around and give me an investigate check.
I am not good at this. Can I guidance myself first?
You can.
All right. I am going to do that. And then, ooh, 17.
So you notice a faint ring, kind of on on a chimney. So it's kind of up a little bit high, almost just above your eye level. But you just see something that kind of catches your eye. It's just a little smudge. It's a little bit darker, and it doesn't look like soot to you. So when you look, what you see is this ring or this little circle of blood, or looks like looks like dried blood, and it would have actually been just like kind of resting on the chimney, or something was put there to make that mark.
So it's like a circular mark on the chimney, or is it around the chimney?
No, a circular mark on the chimney itself, just like a splotch.
Huh. So I'll point this out to Kenna and Harok. And I will actually offer...
I want to cast Detect Thoughts on Harok.
Ooh.
Okay. So seems kind of bored. Feels like he's gone over this ground before. And his mind is kind of drifting and wandering. And he's thinking about Agnetha.
And
yeah,
how about...
I'm thinking about Agnetha too. I'm thinking about the fact that Maglin is missing and the two guys that went down are guys that screwed with her before.
And does he think anything different after Deneen points this mark out?
Now he's intrigued. And dang, girl, you must be part cat.
It's not just my ears that are sharp.
And he's kind of looking, at the rooftop, and from the ground. Harok is not a small man, and there is not a lot of handholds.
That's all right. I can. Anybody with the right training could easily get up this wall. Deneen
Right,
claims.
I suppose so. You got like a rope or something?
Yeah. Do you want to come? You want to come up there? I can shimmy on up there and then throw your rope.
Yeah. You pointed something out. I want to take a look at it.
Sure. Here we go. So she'll climb on up there. She's extremely lightweight, just because she's a skinny, malnourished for life elf. And so she shimmies up there and then finds a good spot to throw her rope around, and then she'll feed it back down. Yeah,
you could actually just tie it right around the chimney and probably just throw it over.
Yep.
It's only about 20 feet up. It's not super high, 2-story building. So
that's easy.
So he basically just walks up, the side of the building with the help of the rope, and comes up there, and then asks for you to point out what you found.
Yeah, so she says, see here, it's like, I don't know if this was deliberately put here or if somebody pressed something here. But so is it like a solid circle of blood, or is it like a ring of blood?
It's it's solid.
So like, would this circle happen to be like maybe the size of the stump of somebody's neck, just by any chance?
That would be an astute observation.
Yeah. So Deneen shares this theory.
That's what I was thinking. What a strange thing to do. Why would someone put their head up here and put someone's head up here? Then
they could have just bumped it against the wall as they were climbing. I think we need to check the roof. Or it could be deliberate. I don't know. But either way. So Hannah, you want to shimmy up here? I can pull you up on the rope.
I'll meet them up there. I can climb.
Are you still
time?
Thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, just surface ones, though.
He seems a little perplexed. Like it doesn't really make a lot of sense to him. And
I'll stop at that point because I'm pretty like it's pretty clear that he had nothing to do with this, but I had to at least check.
and he's like kind of musing aloud. He's like, someone would actually like they would actually have to go because it was like at your just above your eye level. Someone would actually have to go out of their way to put it up there. Like it's not like they're gonna accidentally bump it, and then he kind of like looks down, over the side of the building. Unless they popped off the head and it landed there. I don't know. That seems unlikely.
I don't know. I mean, I guess we could check to see if any other recent scenes have similar marks. That would probably tell us whether it was a coincidence or not.
I'm not saying any of this out loud yet. How tall is the roof?
The roof is about 20 feet.
About how tall is your average ogre?
Your average ogre is about 9 feet.
Okay, never mind.
And so he starts like, I guess you could check the fireplace.
All right.
Well, is there any other evidence up here on the roof, like more stains or any fresh scrapes on the roof or anything?
Nope, that was the only thing you found up there.
All right.
How big is the chimney?
The chimney is probably like 2 foot by 2 foot square.
Uh-huh. And is there smoke coming out of it?
Right now, no. Summertime.
Right.
All right. You think there's a head in there?
Well, I mean, if we're going to check the fireplace, a head would fit.
Yeah, but wouldn't it fall down to the vent? Or the flue?
Probably.
Well, yeah, I'm going to go inside, go downstairs, and go look in the fireplace.
All right. We'll be here.
So, he goes over and kind of just like slides down the rope.
And Deneen, since she has dark vision, will actually look down the chimney.
Okay, so you can actually see to the bottom, and you see like a pot or a cauldron, over top of where the grate would be, where they would keep the fire, and there's a liquid in it, but you don't see anything else.
Yeah, I don't know. There's soup down there or something.
So we know that whatever did this was on the roof at one point. Didn't leave any tracks on the ground, not even in the blood spray. So I think it's probably safe to infer that they probably didn't actually step on the ground, which leads me to wonder how they managed to get this person's head off from up here.
They could have been above them and wrenched it off, like if they were dangling or on the wall, or
we are 20 feet up.
Yeah, but you could like rappel halfway down. But I don't know why you would do such a thing, but clearly the head ended up here after these guys died. So
the head ended up here and it didn't splatter at all on the way up until this point, which means it had to have actually touched the chimney, right? Like that's not a crazy thing to assume.
I mean,
no. And also heads by themselves I don't think have a lot of blood.
Not once it all dumps out, no. So
which means that they waited and dumped it out down there before they brought it up here so that it wouldn't leave any blood trace on the wall.
But then they deliberately like stamped this mark here, I guess, unless it just coincidentally.
It doesn't seem like someone that was being that careful would make a mistake like that unless they were doing it on purpose.
So it's like a little signature, basically. But weird. It's super weird. I'm wondering if any of these
they
other
were suddenly in a rush.
I'm wondering if any of these other murder scenes have similar like neck stump marks up high.
It's worth a check. I'm just surprised that something that was ripped off that way was able to make such a perfect circle.
Well, it's a splotch. It's not. I wouldn't say perfect.
Right.
It's definitely neck size, though. You know.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything else on the roof, so maybe they bagged it after that, or chucked
really
it into
jacked
this,
up.
or chucked it in the soup down there. I don't know. And meanwhile, Deneen still kind of got an ear out and is kind of looking down there to see if like Hurok appears below.
Yeah, you kind of like you hear some banging and then some, his booming voice, official business, and then some mutter, some a quieter voice, a little bit harder to make out, and then you hear him kind of like tromping, tromping through the building, and looking down, you see him kind of like poking around in the soup.
And Deneen will call down like to confirm, this is the chimney, Hurok. I don't see anything between here and the soup.
I don't see anything down here either.
Is there anything in the soup? I hate to say it.
Yeah, he's definitely got the ladle and he's like, fishing through it. And it doesn't seem like anything in there. Like he's just pulling the ladle out in the soup.
It was worth looking. They probably took it with them then. Or both the heads, I guess, with them. What about some of these
heads?
And she's not going to call this down the chimney. She just stops. Because she doesn't want to be loud.
All right. We should probably ask a couple more questions about who the victims were, and if we can manage to see some of the other scenes, then that would be good too, because it was definitely not an accident.
Right.
So when you get back down and you meet back up Hurok, and as you're going to ask him, about seeing some of the other scenes, he's kind of like musing aloud. I wonder if there's anything else we missed. Dang, girl, I still can't believe you spotted that.
I'm not always the most systematic person, but I it's a good cause, and I prayed to my God for help.
We didn't think about climbing up on the roofs.
You got to think three-dimensionally. That's why climbing on roofs works. A lot of people don't look up.
Apparently. I'm going to keep that in mind.
Definitely keep it in mind if you're out walking at night. If this, whatever this is, ripping heads off, could potentially be striking from above.
But still managing to hold the head there long enough for it to dump its blood content out before it brought it up to the roof. It would have to have gotten on the ground at some point.
Not necessarily. Not if they were killed by having their heads removed.
It still requires some kind of range to remove the head to begin with. Oh, this is
if you had a really sharp
disturbing
garrote, but that wouldn't really rip your head off. I don't know.
Yeah, I can tell you, I've seen all the bodies. They were clearly ripped off.
Like, was there any sign of like claw marks, or was it just like a ragged kind of yank?
It was ragged. I mean,
so would it be possible to like imagine some kind of wrap, and then, but you'd think that would bring the whole body. They had to have held it down somehow as well. Get some of the other scenes.
Or it had to have been really fast.
Or really strong. Something strong enough to like grab a skull and just...
But like your friend said, it's not like there was no marks like someone held them down.
I don't know. Let's check out one of the other scenes. Especially now that we know we're looking for something potentially similar.
So with that, he leads you down to the docks.
Oh, boy.
On this one, he actually leads you Telephone. On this one, he actually leads you to the end of a pier.
Uh-huh.
Well, this one was poor Miles. At least we're pretty sure it was Miles. He was working that night. No one's seen him since. His body kind of matched what they said he looked like. And on this one, there isn't nearly the mess of the other ones, because apparently you could see that most likely when he fell, he kind of fell in the corner, and most of what ran out of Miles, it kind of ran down the pole. So only the part that is like sticking out of the water. And plus, everything's always damp down here, so much of that didn't stain.
Is there anything overhead here? Like climbable? Or is this just open air? It's like a dock with open air here.
It's a dock with open air. There's warehouses, off, the wharf. There's ships, but they would change.
Right. So there could have been a ship docked right here for all we know. Or it could be a flying thing, or go in the water. I don't know.
The poor Miles here. He was just rolling casks off a ship. Easy night, not bad. They're pretty easy to move around. But he was working alone. They found the casks and been unloading. There was one lying on its side, and what was left of poor Miles.
What's he like? Well, what was he like as a person?
I can't say I really knew him, but from all accounts, he was just a regular working guy. His his wife and daughter, they're pretty choked up.
I imagine they would be. I'm very sorry for your loss in theirs.
So Deneen is looking around at this stain, and if he was unloading a ship, I mean, that ship's gone. And there's no other surfaces around here. So she's going to look around and look maybe lean over and look at the outside of the pilings, just the places where people would be less likely to look. But I don't know. She isn't necessarily expecting to find anything, but she's just trying to be thorough.
Right.
Looking for
Miles was the first one.
I wonder if it was something coming off the ship.
That's possible.
Stowaway.
Would make it convenient.
That was one of my thoughts, but we didn't find anything. It's one of the regular ships that docks here. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Like the captain he's been making deliveries here for years.
Yeah, but I mean like a stowaway or something. The captain wouldn't necessarily
clearly wouldn't have known about it.
That is true.
One thing's for sure, it doesn't sound like we're going to be getting much sleep tonight.
Yeah. So I don't see any other like bloody stump marks anywhere.
Not here, you do not.
Okay.
So if you guys want to kind of like fast track a little bit and say you guys look at the other sites.
Sure.
So you guys investigate, you're extremely thorough. Give me another investigate check. Either one of you can make it, and you can make it with advantage.
Ooh.
Okay.
My investigate's -1. How's Kenna?
Okay. I should definitely be the one doing this in that case. I get a boost to it because I have observant.
And she'll guidance you too. Also. So you get an extra D4.
Yes. I lost my cursor for a second. That's what took me a minute. Oh my goodness. Already, what are you doing?
The cat may have a clue.
I just nat 20.
Oh,
Okay, nat 20. You find those marks
Lucky
at every
cat.
single one of the other sites, and they're always up. They're always up high.
ah,
And at the other sites, you actually find 2 to 4 of the marks at each of the sites. So it's different. It's different numbers.
All right. Now, would whatever is doing this have had more than one head at the sites where it was more than one circle?
Yes, some of the places there was more circles than there were bodies.
Oh. You're muted.
that is super weird. And meanwhile, at the one place that we know 2 people were killed, there was 1 mark. So, and it's clearly deliberate. So it must mean something.
Yeah. So at this point, there's there has been 8 bodies.
Huh. Is there any kind of pattern to the number of marks in relation to like which one was killed first or anything like that?
There is not.
Okay. And still no heads, of course. Huh.
Do I have a map, like, of the town?
I'm pretty sure you do. It sounds like something that you acquired early on.
So I'm going to mark these places, like where we're finding like the crime scenes are, so that I can just take a look at it on the map and see if there's any correlation, or like a general area that these are happening in, or if it's spread out, like what the situation there is.
So one of the things that does seem kind of clear when you do that is like it definitely moved away from the docks with the murders.
Could that
All right.
give us a way to predict a likely area for a future one? Like how precise could this be?
It's not exactly like it's a straight line per se. It just seems like it seems to be happening further away from the docks. You know, some of them might be to the north and some of them to the south.
But we have a general idea that we're going to want to at least be not quite on the docks, but like somewhere nearby, so that if something starts happening, we'll be able to hear it maybe. Except nobody's heard anything so far.
Yeah, but
if we're on the roofs, we might be able to perceive something they didn't. There'll be witnesses this time.
I hope so. So we're going to do a stakeout. We're going to try to do a stakeout in the general vicinity of some of these most recent ones.
Yeah. Yeah. We can use message to keep in touch. One of us be closer to the south, one of us be closer to the north, and make sure we are both very well hidden. Because, you know, we don't want to end up headless.
Yeah. I'm using in my head.
That would be inconvenient.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's what you guys want to do tonight. You want to do like 2 separate stakeouts?
Do we want to be separate?
Well, I mean, if we sat more toward the middle, then we'd be safer, but there would be less chance of seeing what happened. Unless we're facing different directions, I suppose. My night vision isn't great, though.
Yeah, so sending you off by yourself is maybe not so good either.
That's true.
All right. We can go pick a spot. I can get us both very hidden.
So you guys are going to go together now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We've split the party enough.
That's true. And we're also down Agnetha. You're right. That would have been a dumb decision.
Okay, so you guys, other than hiding, are you doing anything else in particular?
So not all of these the dock at least did not have any, high spot for an enemy to strike from, but it could very well have been from the ship itself. In these other locations, was there usually we found these marks above eye level. So it seems like there's consistently some height to be had. Like, is it usually a building about 20 feet high, or like, is there anything would help us guess at maybe a good spot?
So in each instance, it's kind of been like the highest vantage point.
Okay. So we can pick like a relatively high building from one of these blocks and just sort of secrete ourselves away there. And maybe we'll notice something skulking around up here.
Hopefully.
And hopefully we won't be the next two victims. We'll see.
So the one thing that you would look for is someplace where you're likely to encounter someone that is someone or someone's that are kind of isolated from other people, because that's the one.
Yeah.
One common, other than the height thing, but the other common denominator was where there's some foot traffic.
Right, like some foot traffic, maybe bars that let out late, maybe seedier areas where people would be less likely to be missed, something along those lines.
So, I guess if you're looking at the map and where things have kind of happened, either the poor man's pub or the Lionheart Inn might be two places where they're both taverns that let out later, or don't necessarily close per se, and they're further inland from the docks.
The Poor Boys Pub, that's a regular dive.
Yeah, but that's also like a seedier place than, the Lion's Heart is.
It's very fancy, yes.
And it's probably better lit. So I'd say let's stake out the Poor Man's Pub.
Me too. And honestly, it's only partially because I worry about the people in there. I know Tom, he's a good guy and doesn't deserve to have his head ripped off.
So it is, you guys are kind of getting a little bleary-eyed, a little tired. Guys, traveled in early.
So we spent all day at this. We didn't have a chance to like take a nap before our stakeout or anything.
Well, you could have. That's entirely up to you guys.
I think it would make sense if we're going to be doing the night operation here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you guys set aside some time to nap before going out.
Yeah.
And you guys are just settled in when Kenna, you get a knock on the Vardo door.
I'm gonna check and see who's come calling.
It is Captain Lenny from Watch.
Huh.
I thought you might be interested because you were before, and we haven't used the stank tank in a long time, but we felt like this was one of those cases. I mean, he doesn't stink, but he's acting weird, and we gave him the antidote and it didn't work, and his face is
who?
One of the workers from one of the warehouses.
Take us to him.
So as we're walking, Deneen will say, so he's talking about that troglodyte thing, right?
Maybe.
but this sounds different. All right.
It's hard to say. I mean, they could definitely rip a head off, but
Yeah,
So-
but they're not really climbers.
So he leads you to the stank tank, and there's just one person in there, and he's kind of someone, you just see their back, and they're kind of like huddled in the corner. You can see their bodies like shaking.
I'm gonna walk up to the bars and I'm gonna say, "Easy now."
And he kind of responds to the sound of your voice, and he's like, but at the same time, you can see he's wearing like plain workman's clothes, and he's got a full head of curly hair from the back is what you can see, and you can kind of see like coming up the nape of his neck, like black veins. His veins are like blackened, and he's holding his head, is shaking, and like he's making retching noises.
Hey, it's gonna be okay. What's happened here?
Oh, it hurts so bad. Oh,
What's your name?
like he's not like he's beating his head against the wall, but he's kind of got his head clasped in his hands, and he's kind of like rocking back and forth and bouncing off the walls in the corner.
Lenny, you need to let me in there.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, and he gets his keys out and opens it up.
To my shield so that I can get it up like quickly if I need to, but I'm gonna walk over and I'm gonna touch him on the shoulder.
And he kind of like stiffens when you do, and like half turns.
I'm gonna go with her just as backup.
I appreciate that.
And he falls back into the corner with his hands covering his ears, and then all of a sudden he lets out this horrendous shriek, and now you can like see his face, and it looks like really gaunt. The eyes are like red. In place of his teeth, he's got like these fangs. And you see like these black veins that are running through his through underneath of his flesh, and his hands like burst out away from his ears, and you can see they're being pushed away by these huge bat wings, and you hear this audible rip sound or underneath his howling and shrieking as his head rips from his body and lunges towards you, Kenna.
Oh, I've seen this before. No.
Wait, so his head is flying away?
Well, it's flying at Kenna, but you each have to make a saving throw.
What's the throw?
What save?
Wisdom.
Oh, that's not terrible. Okay. 19. I'll show you my rolls after this. I'll take a screenshot. I'm using
I got a 10
roller tonight.
So Deneen shrieks and begins running for the door.
That's too slow. I'm going to chuck my dagger out the door and teleport out of the room. Sorry, Kenna. I'm terrified.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
So as you get ready to do that, you get ready to turn and run, and you're like thinking to throw the dagger, and then you just kind of freeze with fright as you're stunned with fear.
I'm stunned with fear. This is not good.
Oh, I'm a bard. I've got things I can do about this.
Kenna, give me the initiative. Yeah, that's the thing.
Next time we do something like this, I need to bless us before we start. Gosh darn it.
Okay. That legitimately, I just rolled an 18. I've been going right down the line and getting consecutively smaller numbers, but that's 21 total.
Okay, so you react faster. You have your shield up between you and this creature.
Ow.
And you just hear behind you, "Oh my God, Balkan!" And so clearly, like the guard Lenny probably actually knew who he was. And he's just horrified. And you hear retching and vomiting behind you. So what is Ken doing?
Kenna is going to back into a corner, get her shield up over her head, and she is going to take her action to counter charm. Creatures within 30 feet have advantage versus fright and charm. Is this something that counts? Because she is frightened.
She is, but he's not. It's not shrieking anymore.
Okay. Not carry over and give her advantage if she had to make the roll again.
Is that what it does? It gives advantage?
It says have advantage versus fright and charm. Yes.
Yeah, I'll let that fly, because the counter spell or the counter charm for Bard is kind of weak anyway. So I'll definitely let that fly. So you can do that. What kind of action is that? A standard action?
Yeah.
Okay. And all right, so you do that. What is your initiative, Deneen?
19.
Okay. So you can make your saving throw, and let me know what you get. With advantage.
It's wisdom again?
It is wisdom.
Nat 20.
Okay,
so 21.
So you begin shaking it off, but as you do, this thing appears, right in front of your face.
Ah.
And locks lips with you, kissing.
Ah. This is not cool.
And you can make another saving throw. This time it's charisma.
Charisma. 15?
15. Okay. So that is like one of the most disgusting things you've probably experienced in your life.
Yeah.
You're up.
Am I still frightened?
You're not frightened no more, no.
Okay, I'm gonna try and kill the hell out of this thing then. This is the thing I need to do. So we're all in melee range of this thing because we're all inside the cell?
Yeah.
Can I sneak attack it, in other words? Do I get sneak damage, I mean?
No, because Kenna moved to the corner.
All right. Well, then I'm gonna I can't get away from it. I guess I'll just try to stab it. Just straight up a couple dagger.
Okay.
16 to hit. She tries and pry it away with the knife.
Okay, definitely right in the side of its head.
For 7 piercing damage.
Okay.
And then on the offhand, 17 to hit. But it's offhand, so I guess it's only 3 damage.
Okay, so 10 points of damage. Yeah, you're ripping this thing's face apart with your daggers.
Yeah.
And Kenna's up.
All right. Going to draw last breath, breathe on last breath, and come in swinging. Okay. So, I imagine that a 10 is not going to hit.
You imagine correctly.
18?
Absolutely.
Ooh. So that would be 5 damage.
You didn't do your customary 6. So 5 damage. There are now two halves flopping around on the ground between the two of you as the wings keep kind of moving around. But there's 2 halves, and that goes on for a few moments before it finally stills.
Salt and burn it. Salt and burn it.
So nasty. didn't like infect me or something. Do I have like black veins on my face? I'm terrified at this point.
Not yet.
Great.
Oh,
I'm just that thing. It's like it was trying to slip me some tongue. I'm not cool with this. No.
That kiss was definitely not consensual.
No.
Stunned is not consent.
Ugh.
And you still hear retching going on.
Yeah.
On the outside of the cell. And Lenny finally like kind of gets himself together. What the hell was that? What just happened?
well, we're gonna find out.
So I guess we know where these heads are going. If they're
And why they're
flying
landing
away.
places.
So this body here is.
Oh my
does it
god,
look
there's
like-
more than one of these.
Yeah, there's however many heads are missing.
Oh, and by the way, Ken, I
Okay.
think you're probably covered in
So there's the same gory mess that
Blood and viscera, of course. I'm always covered in blood and viscera. I should just accept it as a fact of life at this point. And she does not sound happy about this in the slightest. Prestidigitation.
Could you prestidigitate my mouth, please?
Yeah.
Make sure to floss. Just oh my gosh.
Get you some Eclipse gum.
This is
Orbit.
horrifying.
we never speak of this again.
All right. Well, I guess we need to round up some heads then.
Is my head gonna explode and fly away? I am concerned.
I'm a little bit concerned too. We should probably check the church and see if anybody knows what to do about this, or maybe the library because they've got the bestiary. But heads.
How come no one has reported a flying head trying to smooch them?
Because they're all dead.
Well, then maybe that means I'm fine. Let's hope that's what it means. Yes, that has to be what it means. Then I'm fine.
I mean, also consider that all of the victims that we know of were men, and what man is going to report being force kissed by a flying head?
So Lenny's like, he just seems sick. I thought maybe he'd been drinking, or maybe that stuff was back.
We need to get word around as quickly as possible what these symptoms are and what to do if people are seen with them. If we can figure out a cure, that would probably be best.
So these
But getting the
marks-
information around is going to be hard.
So these marks that we saw on the walls were just these things like flying around and finding their way out into the sky, essentially.
When you
That's
say
definitely
find
what
a
it looks
cure-
like.
When you say find a cure, Lenny is like grabbing the bars with one hand, holding his stomach with the other, and he looks at you like you're insane. Cure for your head ripping off and freaking bat wings coming out of your ears? I don't think that's curable. Fire!
That didn't.
Fire!
Okay. Yes. The ones that are already flying around, we are not going to be able to fix. But people that just happen to get infected and that doesn't happen to yet, we can probably find a way to help them. Because I bet there are more than just her.
This is the only one we've seen so far. I wonder how fast it happens. I guess we can
It
watch
must happen fairly quickly. and
That was pretty fast.
Yeah, but how long was he in there before that? You had time to come to the bardo to get us to come back.
A couple
So
hours.
at least we could describe these like black veins and whatever the initial symptoms were that you noticed.
Are the black veins still on the body?
No, they were just on the head.
Okay. Basically, the important thing here is that we need people to know to be on the lookout for that. And I point to the pile of smoldering bat head.
Great.
I'm getting me a carousel.
This is... Oh, this is crazy.
Remember the good old days when people just turned into lizard men? It smelled bad?
Yeah. I do remember that. Well,
I'd give my left nut just to deal with blood coldness once again.
we need to figure out a plan how to round these things up. We need to figure out exactly how many there are.
Well, however many heads are unaccounted for is probably how many there are.
Plus the first one. Don't forget the first one. Or
unless they didn't find bodies. But, you know, I mean, at least as many as there are bodies that we know of.
Right.
No, I came here for a better. I'm going back to Ryler. At least there, you knew it. You knew when you were in danger what the dangers were. Like some cutthroat was going to, gut you from behind and take your pouch. At least that I understood.
And this whole time, I've been thinking that Janine is in the back of her mind, thinking, "But this is still better than Ryler. It's still good that I came here with my family and my innocent child." And then he says this, and she just shoots him this glare because he's like saying exactly what she doesn't want to think.
Kenna is going to put a hand on his arm and she's going to say, like, take a very deep breath and find your courage. I'm going to, like, cast heroism while I'm doing this so that he's not scared anymore and be like, it's going to be fine. We're going to be fine. We're going to find a way to handle this. And, like, she's being really subtle about it so that it looks like she's just talking him out of being scared, but she's using magic.
Yeah, so he definitely seems to visibly calm down. And like, very calmly, he's like, freaking head flew off the body. Are you shitting me?
Yeah. No, but it happened, and we've seen it happen, and now we know what to do. So let's do that.
What are these initial symptoms that people definitely other than me need to watch out for?
Right.
Well,
like, what did the guy look like when you first brought him in here?
He was moaning and groaning, and he just looked super pale. And his eyes were all red and bloodshot.
And he was holding his head like it hurt. So maybe a headache.
Apparently. He was trying to keep it from flying off. Who knew? What a bad way to go.
So when what's his name? Gus and Rollo in the alley.
Mm-hmm.
So one of them must have had his head explode, and then it did the same thing to the other guy. I mean, it wouldn't be likely that they would both do it at once. So it must have been...
unless they got infected together. But their bodies were found together, so they had to have been. Unless it's faster for some people than others, but that doesn't make any sense.
It makes me wonder, though, because all the other ones were just one, I guess. Anyway.
Maybe multiple strikes from the head makes it happen faster. But we only found the one circle at their scenes, so maybe not.
Well, if these circles are just from these things like flying around and then flying away and whacking into the walls, then that doesn't... No wonder it's just some random amount until they finally find this guy.
Right. Okay.
Maybe you guys are still at the jail.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe the one circle was the one that attacked them both.
Oh, like it was sitting on the wall waiting for them to come by?
Maybe. Like you saw what happened. You heard it scream. Couldn't move.
Do you think it would be out of line to ask for a curfew until this is taken care of?
That could take a while. Gotta go through the
mayor, it'd be best
council.
Yeah, but if people know people have been beheaded at night, there's probably a certain degree of self-imposed curfew going on.
At the very least, get word around that this is happening at night and what is happening to people. They need to be aware.
Well, I guess we can show him that. And he kind of nudges one of the flopping head halves with his boot.
There's like a little, we set it on fire, but let's say there was like a little wing sticking out of the fire.
I am, after tonight, going to start writing an educational song for children about the various kinds of monsters and how to avoid getting killed by them.
That sounds wonderful.
It'll be a smash hit. Don't ever sing that to schools. Don't sing that to my kid. She'll never sleep again.
At least she won't get eaten by a troll.
Or kissed by a flying demon head.
I will have all the children halflings singing this song by the end of the week. I'm going to make it sound fun so it doesn't scare them. And then hopefully if dangerous things happen, they'll look back and remember what to do.
You know, I guess if you say demon, baby demon upbeat enough.
Right. It'll be Ring Around the Rosie. Completely unintelligible.
Maybe. Anyway, all right. So we still need to figure out where these heads are sleeping, if they're sleeping in the same place. Do you think you can track them now that you know what they are? Man, they were both on the roof and flying. I love it when we're both right. I love it and I hate it.
They must roost somewhere. It's only at night. They probably want darkness. So wherever bats would usually hang out.
Like the belfry?
I mean, just there's plenty of little nooks and crannies that are big enough for a head in a town.
You mean they could just be chilling inside chimneys?
If nobody's using it. Or just, well, we know they like high locations so that they can perch.
Yes, we do.
And leave their little mark on the side of the building so they can perch and then attack. So
yep.
Let's start checking some of these. I mean, it's nighttime now. There are probably some waiting for people right now.
Okay. I'm going invisibly.
That sounds like a good plan. And I will go
because
very
stealthy. I'm not going to see them before they see me. You have a very good chance of being able to hide your way through this.
And meanwhile, can we have this guard tell Harrock what's going on?
Oh yeah, he will absolutely. Lenny will absolutely do that. He's very happy to be of any help, especially any help that does not involve him looking for flying demon heads.
I would like any way to help that doesn't involve intentionally going looking for flying demon heads. This is ridiculous, but I'm going anyway.
So
I need to see how this ends.
I can't think of anything else.
So you're looking for belfries?
Well, it's nighttime, so they're probably perched on the sides of chimneys and stuff, waiting to attack people. That's our theory.
Yep. That's the thing that happened.
This calls for some nice long-range artillery, and Denise pats her bow. Hopefully.
Oh, no. That means I'm bait.
Yeah, it kind of does. I didn't mention that part, but maybe the invisibility, not so much.
Okay.
Put a
all right,
a scarf or a length of chainmail or something over your face. That's my suggestion.
I put on Olive's face mask thing.
There you go.
So it's not dark yet because you guys were kind of interrupted when you went to take your nap before your stakeout.
Ah, okay.
So
we could go look for where they're roosting.
Yes, you guys probably have about an hour and a half, 2 hours before dark.
What do you think?
Okay.
Well,
I think you definitely need to be on the roof and you definitely need to be shooting. And I think we can draw them out. And I think this is a solid plan and I hate it, but we'll do it anyway.
So you don't want to try, we're going to go finish our nap and you don't want to try and...
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I mean, unless you think it would be a better idea to check some things first, but frankly, if I had a choice between checking for them now before the sun goes down and then having spells for when we do find them, I would rather have spells when we find them.
Right. Well, I don't have to be on the roof. I just have to be somewhere where I can shoot
Right.
a thing that approaches you.
You haven't cast any spells.
Heroism and detect thoughts.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
And also, we were just coming in from the road, so I still had some fights
Well, then
behind us from that point.
Well, then let's go finish. Let's go finish our nap.
You would have had a full
Let's go
rest,
finish our nap.
rest before getting to town. So
Okay, cool. In that case, I'm good.
So Lenny says, if you're looking for places, I know a couple places around town that kind of meet. Obviously, they want some place where they're going to be left alone during the day, I guess. So they're going to be looking for some place that's kind of abandoned.
Anything near the poor man's pub?
Oh, and he kind of like you see the light bulb go off behind his eyes. There was that building that mostly burned down. It was it had an attic.
Right. And that completely unrelated fire incident that had nothing to do with us at all.
You know, the first floor was pretty sound. The second floor was mostly trashed, but there's still an attic. And
okay, well, let's go check out this attic.
That is close to the last place where where someone was killed. Well, other than here, of course.
You're right. You are absolutely right. Check that out. Sounding more and more likely by the second. She still doesn't sound too excited about this, but she's walking.
So, what do you guys? How are you guys approaching? What are you doing?
All right.
You are the stealth expert here.
Well, I seriously want like a chainmail bandana. That is what I want right now. Because I don't want anything trying to mash lips with me and getting anywhere. I don't think that little veil's gonna protect you. We need to buy some chainmail sleeves and use those.
And use them for scarlet?
Yeah.
Or something.
As face masks.
Like a chainmail cowl.
And then you just because
stop off and buy those things first.
What could possibly go wrong?
We could get kissed to death and our heads could explode. That's what could possibly go wrong.
Something could end up having heat metal. Is the worst case scenario I can think
that
of.
would be bad.
So you guys are going down the road past not the poor man's pub, actually. The place, I'm sorry, the place that came to your mind, Kenna, was actually just down the road from the busted donkey. Darwood's old place.
Mm-hmm. It's a different pub.
That was a different
Nothing to do with us at all. It was just a fire.
Deneen is blissfully unaware in either case that this could have possibly had anything to do with you or not. So
I actually feel much better about this.
So, but one of the things you do notice as you guys are, walking past the busted donkey and coming up to, up to this basically skeleton of a house. I mean, the first floor seems intact. The second floor looks kind of almost skeletal, like part of it was burned out and gutted, and then then there's the attic that's still kind of intact. So the fire was put out, but directly across from this this building is another house, and it's abandoned, but the walls they had these sigils and marks kind of like etched into them. And you kind of recognize them, Deneen. They're Rylar gang signs.
Specifically Rylar, or just thieves can't signs?
No, they're specifically signs that would have came out of Rylar.
What the hell? So she's
and we're not at Darwood's place.
No, that's at that's near Darwood's place.
So she's
Okay.
looking up at these and scowling and saying, we left Ryler. These should not be here.
No, they shouldn't be here. Defexis did that because we burned this building down.
Oh.
Didn't want people looking at us.
Oh. All right. But Janine is still not real thrilled just seeing them. Well, how'd she... Never mind. Never mind. So
She knows a lot of things.
Okay. Was she from Ryler?
I don't actually know. I didn't really get the chance to ask.
Okay. As long as it was you guys, I'm not going to worry about it.
Neither of the three are from Gryphongaffe. You probably, I'm sure that came up at some point. That they're all transplants.
Okay. Well, then I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to worry more about demon bat heads trying to kiss us to death. That's what I'm going to worry about.
You know, are you sure we shouldn't just set the rest of the building on fire and not go in there personally?
They're going to fly away.
I guess let's go. We should have gotten a net. Is it too late to go back and get a net?
So you guys are like, is it too late to get the net as it's like dusk out? And you see like the louvers, you know, on the third floor of the attic kind of burst open.
Oh,
there it goes.
All these red dots, you know, in the darkness beyond. And you just think you hear a faint flapping of wings.
I'm gonna bonus action hide and shoot at one of them.
So that's where we're gonna end it, with you guys hiding, whatever you're doing. And you know, thanks everyone for watching. Thank you guys for playing with me tonight. It's always a lot of fun to have the Scarlet Sisterhood. Hopefully we'll have everyone in the house in attendance next week. But with that, we're gonna wrap up there for this evening. And until next time, guys, stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.